Welcome back. Time for a little update on the houseboat. Still needs a lot of work, but we're one step closer to running electrical and building interior. Got the closed cell spray foam insulation in. The roof is done. The walls are done. It's all insulated. I wanted 1 inch on the walls, at least 1.5 inches on the ceiling. Pretty much got a solid 1 inch on the walls, some places 1.25 inches, and I got 1.5 to 2 inch on the ceiling. I've got to come back, scrape the studs. If you're not familiar with spray foam, usually the spray foam crew that comes out and does the work, they scrape the studs for you for a cost. To save some money, I have to do all the scraping myself, and I've done all the prep work. I laid all the plastic. It was all easy for me because this is what I do for a living. I don't spray the foam. I help lay the plastic. I wash the machine. I make sure the applicator, which is the guy spraying, does not run out of materials. It took us about an hour to do, and it's solid. Very happy with it. I only chose to go 1 inch for the simple fact that no matter how well I insulate these walls, these windows are an R1, maybe an R2 value. And being I have a lot of windows, it's gonna be like a greenhouse in here. But today was 80 degrees outside. With it closed up, it got to about 82 in here, 82 to 83. And once I open the doors and windows, it immediately cooled down. Right now the houseboat is in the shade, but an hour ago it was still in the sun, and it felt like I was under a shade tree. Closed cell foam is a great product. It's very costly. If you can afford it, the strength it adds is just well worth it. The reason I went thick on the roof is because it is a walkable roof, and with big distance and span and only 3/8 plywood, it would move when I walked across a spot that didn't have studs. Now it no longer moves. The foam bonded everything and glued it together. I did foam everything. I was to leave this cavity open for my air conditioner. I decided to go ahead and spray foam it because at this point I'm not sure if I'm putting air conditioning in. I probably will eventually, but I'm not sure if I'm going with a traditional 5,000 BTU, that window unit that you can pick up anywhere, but it runs on 120 volts, or I'm gonna go with a 12 volt mini split. It's designed for like semi trucks, campers, RVs, tiny houses. If I go with a 12 volt, I'm gonna have to run at least a 4 battery bank of lithium batteries. It's like $800 for the mini split, and another $800 for the batteries. I only have 300 watts of solar, so I would probably need 400 to 500 watts of solar to keep up, which I can get 2 more identical 100-watt panels to match what I have. I'm just not sure if I'm going that route yet. What I like about the solar option, I know everybody wants to go electric and solar, but solar's not very efficient. But if I go with solar and a 4 battery bank, I'm only expecting to run the air conditioner in the evenings at night when I'm sleeping. That way I can sleep comfortable. During the day I can have windows open, have a breeze coming through. So realistically, I only need enough power for the air conditioner to run for 8 hours. And according to the manufacturer of the 12 volt air conditioner, with 200 amp hour batteries, 100 amp hour batteries, making 200 amp hours total, the air conditioner could run for 6 to 8 hours before the batteries are depleted, and the AC has a low voltage shut off to where it will shut off when it reaches a certain voltage. So I figured if I go with 4 batteries, I'm probably never gonna reach the low voltage. That's just things I'm considering. My next step on this build, even got the back done. I didn't do this for installation, this was for strength. My main concern with the phone was strength, again, as I stated in previous videos. My next step is to run electrical, figure out where I'm gonna run everything. My console, as we know, is gonna be right here. So I think I'm gonna put a shore power plug on the back corner. And I also need a plan for plumbing. I have a water fill. I need to figure out where I'm gonna put my water tank. In my test ride, the bow was 1.5 inches higher than the stern. It gave me around a 10-inch draft on the stern and 8.5 to 9 inch on the bow. Because originally I was putting the water tank under the sink, which my kitchen counter, my galley, to be right there in the corner. But I think I may try to move the water tank further forward in the center of the boat. I do plan on, maybe, this is a maybe, I'm gonna build a bench seat that's also gonna serve as it can be turned into a bed, which means it's gonna be tight for my console, which means my kitchen counter is only gonna come up to about right here. It's gonna give me a 2 foot by 3 foot kitchen counter. It's gonna give me enough room for a sink and put a stove. And then right here, the counter's gonna step up about 6 inches and it's gonna extend. It's gonna be a floating counter. It'll be hollow underneath, to where it'll be like a sailboat berth. They call them berths on boats. This will be what's called a quarter berth. It's big enough to lay down in, but your feet have to go tucked in under the counter, which will put the end of the bed behind my console. I have about 20 inches to stand up and drive, and I'll build like a heavy-duty armrest on this bench if I want to sit, considering that possibility. This side, a futon that folds down to a full-size bed, and I have a bathroom going in here. It's going to be 50 inches to this stud, 50 by 33 or 34 inches width, and that'll give me room for a shower and a cassette toilet. For now, it's going to have a cassette toilet until I put an RV tank on it. But the goal with this is to make it like an RV with full hookup. I can pull up to any campground. I can hook up sewage, water, cable, and pretty much treat it as a camper whilst on the trailer, with the capability of launching. Most state parks have a reservoir or access to a lake. So that was my intention for building this the way I built it. It's overkill, it's overbuilt, it's heavy duty. It's heavier than what a lot of people think it should be. I built the bottom extra heavy on purpose to keep my weight down low. And with weight comes stability and wind and current. It's easier to control if you have a heavy vessel versus a light vessel. But with all that said, you want your cabin structure to be as light as possible. I could have gone lighter in this build. It would have cost me a little more money to go lighter. A lot of people suggested using metal studs. A metal stud is designed to hold weight this direction. I wasn't sure if going down the highway at highway speeds and all the rocking and racking and shaking with Louisiana's great roads that we have, how well the structure will hold up down the highway. I haven't really seen any videos of campers or houseboats, trailerable houseboats that are made with metal stud construction that get towed down the road frequently. So I wasn't sure how it was going to hold up. This I knew would hold up, and especially with the foam. In hindsight, I probably could have built with metal studs. I calculated I would have saved at least 500 pounds of weight by going with metal studs and sheeting with metal, with thin sheet metal. I would have saved 500 pounds of weight on my cabin. This cabin's about 1,000 pounds. And the foam would have glued all the metal together, making it much stronger, and it probably would have worked out just fine. But overall, I'm happy with what I have. I did test ride before the foam. 10 to 12 mile an hour winds, maybe, well, more like 8 to 12, well, 12 gusts, but it was 8 to 10. She handled fine. The little motor and idle, which even if this was a small boat, going against a 10 mile an hour wind, you didn't have much control. You had to give a little throttle to have control. I still plan on trying to upgrade later to a 25 horse, the little 9.8. It's enough power, because it does everything I need to do I won't be playing in winds over 15 miles per hour. I mean, that'd be kind of foolish with any houseboat, a motorized houseboat, to drive around above 15 miles per hour, no matter how heavy or how light it is or how big it is. You are a sail. Basically, a cabin is a sail. So, like I said, I'm happy with the little 9.8. It does fine. And half throttle, I get a 4 miles per hour cruise, and I even put extra weight in here and tested it. It still does 4 miles per hour at half throttle, because the hull is so inefficient. Anything faster than 4 miles per hour, you're burning fuel. Full throttle, I get 5.4, whereas before the cabin, which the cabin I determined is 1,000 pounds, before the cabin I would get 5.7 to 5.8 miles per hour full throttle on a clean hull. Right now my hull is relatively clean, and before adding the foam, which I calculated the weight, it's only about 40 pounds of foam on here. Before adding the foam, I got 5.4 miles per hour full throttle, and that was against the wind, so I don't believe I lost anything. The purpose of going to a 25 horsepower, I would like to do that 4 mile per hour cruise at less than half throttle, and that will give me reserve power for if I go to a place, let's say if I want to navigate through the Mississippi. Like if I want to go to Lake Pontchartrain, where I'm at, I would have to pass through Houma, Louisiana, jump in the coastal waterway, pass through a set of locks, and I'll have to travel 1 or 2 miles upriver, up the Mississippi River, to get into Lake Pontchartrain. I would like to have more horsepower to buck heavy currents. So where I'm at, if we get 2 miles per hour current, that is a lot of current, and it's very rare we have current like that. The only time we have high currents is right after a cold front or a hurricane. You know, we got all that water rushing back out. So again, 9.8 is probably fine, but I'm still going to keep an eye out for a 20-inch shaft, 25 4-stroke with power trim, because this does not have power trim. It'd be nice to have power trim. Yeah, I do thank y'all for stopping by. Appreciate the views, the comments, the shares. It's kind of overwhelming. As I stated in a previous video, 6 or 8 months ago, I've only had almost 200 subscribers, and my channel wasn't receiving much traffic, and it's not my goal to build a big YouTube channel. I'm about to break 1,000 subscribers, and it was partly because of this build and my floating docks. It was just a floating dock I have a customer ordered. I have to build that one and another one right after. It's going to be very similar floating docks, but it's going to 2 different customers. That one's going to be finished and delivered within a couple days, and I'll start on the next one. So that's slowing me down from doing the work to this. But my next step is electrical and plumbing. I have almost everything paid for. All my lighting, my control panel. I have a breaker box from an RV that has a 120 volt side and a 12 volt side. I have a Simrad Cruise 9 GPS chart plotter depth finder is going in here. I have 4 floodlights, one in each corner. I have a porch light front and rear. I have my navigation lights. I have a TV antenna to install, and right here above the toilet, I'm putting a 14-inch RV powered vent fan. I got the manual type. I didn't want the electronic control board and the remote control. That's more things to fail. So I got the manual where you turn the knob and screw it to open, and you just select from, I think, 3 or 4 speeds, maybe 5 speeds, and it is reversible. That's going in the bathroom. But, yeah, all the electrical is going to take place as soon as I'm finished 2 docks, and hopefully I don't get an order for, I hope I get orders for docks, but I'm hoping I don't get another order for at least a month. I would like to have this boat, the interior completed and electrical, by maybe June. We are, I think we're in April right now, the end of April 2024. I'm hoping by June 2024 I can start having my first adventures in this. July, I have a surgery scheduled at the end of July. I'll be out for a couple of weeks. Won't be able to enjoy myself that much. I've already got my boss. We're going to schedule work around my schedule. That's the benefit of working for a small company that's local. It's just the boss and me. This is what we do. So we plan our jobs according to his schedule and my schedule. If I've got too much going on, if I have doctor's appointments, or if I have a dock planned to build, he'll schedule time off to let me work on docks. In fact, the last 2 docks I delivered, they were matching docks for one customer. We actually, in 2 weeks, we only done 2 small jobs, and that gave me enough time to build 2 matching floating docks and deliver. Which, if y'all don't know, if y'all don't watch my channel, that's what funded this entire build. I've got $7,000 invested in this project, and all of my revenue to build this came from my profits from building many floating docks. That way I don't have to use bill money or work money that I work for. I mean, I work for it, but not my regular job. I use that money to build this entire project. She is a tri-tune. The deck is 8 by 22. If you're not familiar with it, I have a 6-foot front porch, about a 4-foot rear. My 3-barrel tri-tunes are about 17.5 or 18 foot of barrels. It's 6 barrels per row, and then I added my diverters in the front. Diverters don't offer flotation. They're just there to break up the waves so where you're not pushing the front of a barrel. And the motor I bought used. It actually came with a sailboat I bought. I bought the sailboat just to get the motor. And she is registered in the state of Louisiana, registered and titled. I do need to do some work on my barrels. When I built this one, I wasn't sealing the barrels with any kind of thread sealant. I was relying on the factory O-rings. These were brand new barrels. And months later, I decided to add valve stems on my barrels because some of them were collapsing while I was in the water. You can see down there on the end by that strap, I have a valve stem on every one of these barrels. Well, while I was pressurizing, pumping air to reinflate the barrels, I actually pulled out the water to do this. I have a video on that. And while I was doing that, I think at least 3 barrels were leaking by the caps. So I'm going to have to pull every barrel off one by one, which I can do. This side of the strap is concealed behind this 2x8. If you look here, the main frame is 2x6. The strap is in between them. The strap is held with 3 bolts. So this side of the strap can't come off. I can't pull this 2x8 off without destroying a lot of stuff. But the other side of the straps can come off. And I can retension my straps. And the way I would do that is the valve stem I was talking about. Don't know, this one has pressure. It's been about 4 months since I put air in them. Yeah, still has pressure. But anyway, back to what I was saying. To tension the straps, I would drill a hole right here in the center, a 1/4-inch hole. Actually, I'd probably do it up here. Drill a hole above this screw. I would pull all the screws off, remove the barrel, seal it, and when I go to put it back on, I'll stick a screwdriver or a pry bar in that hole and get it above this 2x6 and pry up, and that's going to retension my strap. And then I'll re-put these screws in. It's going to be in a new screw hole in the wood, and it's going to make the strap tighter. I have a video on tensioning. That's how I do it. And I have to do something different for my rear barrels because when I built the center pontoon right here, this was added on. Oh, while I'm here, someone asked if barnacles stick to barrels. Yes, they do. But this thing's been drying out for a long time. They come off easy. But you can see that grass, it doesn't adhere very well. That's where my bunks go, so I couldn't pressure wash. Back to what I was saying, I added this center pontoon after I done built it. I originally built this as 2 pontoons, At that time, I didn't plan on putting a cabin on it. I made it an open deck, like a fishing, like a little party kind of barge. So I didn't have these 2x6 runners to hold my barrels. This was added after I had to come back and cut out all my main support beams that support the deck. I had to cut it all out. But what I did build first was the motor bracket, and that I thought was my best attempt to make a motor bracket strong enough to hold an outboard. It spans across the frame and it's tied into the main beams. I put them on a 45 because it would give me more strength and less of a chance of the 2x4s bending this direction if you lay them on a 45 angle. So that's why I built that like that. But it was harder for me to strap the barrels. You can see this strap is loose. It's mostly loose because I had to modify my trailer. My trailer bunk was catching the bottom and dragging, and then it would pop and let go, and then it would catch the next one and the next one and the next one. But these straps are not as secure as the rest of the straps holding the barrel. So I'm going to do something different with this when I do pull the barrels down. But I think I've rambled long enough, but you get the idea. I did take care of some of my buckles. Those I need to remove. I did put holes through my poor man's fiberglass, which I didn't want to do, but I'm coming back with a treated strip of wood all the way around the cabin on both sides, so those holes are going to be sealed and done with. I did manage to get all the buckles out before the foam, so that's where I stand on it. I still need to put another coat of paint on the whites, which I wish I would have done before I installed all the windows. But I'm going to mask everything off, mask off my handrails because I want to leave this wood color. So I'm going to mask everything off, come back, start from the top, paint my white again, sand, lightly sand, repaint my gray, lightly sand to get all my glue droppings and paint droppings off of the blue, and repaint the blue. And then I've been talking, I talked to her one time. She actually lives down the street. She's a local artist that's popular. Her name is Cassie Wazan. She paints murals all over the city of Houma and Thibodaux and surrounding areas. She does nice Cajun and down the bayou themes. I'm thinking on both sides I'm gonna have like a sun setting on a cypress swamp mural, big mural right there. And I'm gonna name the boat Southern Life. I'll probably put it across the top. The name of the boat's gonna match my YouTube channel, and I think it's gonna be great. The name goes with it, and I'm trying to live a Southern life, whatever that means to y'all. I love the water, I love fishing, I just love being out in the water, and I've always wanted a houseboat, so I've got it. So again, I want to thank y'all for viewing. Appreciate the likes, the comments, the shares, suggestions. Not so much on YouTube, but on Facebook I get suggestions on what I should change and you should do this. Well, it's already built. I'm not changing the main structure. If you think it's better, awesome, I'm happy for you. What I built worked for me and my skill set. You know, I would like to see y'all builds. I think this is a cool concept. You know, a lot of people, a very large number of people, didn't think it was stable. I got told I was wasting my time, and they were worried about my safety. It's going to flip over. I mean, you don't know until you build it, and I've done that. Again, thank y'all for viewing. See y'all on the next one.